New data on Americans' reactions to the AIG bonus controversy. 3 findings I think are particularly important based on our analysis. Number one, there is blame to be spread around on this, but President Barack Obama looks like he's coming out so far pretty good.
How do they justify this outrage to the taxpayers who are keeping the company afloat?
Here's what we did. We read for Americans 4 entities: AIG management, Congress, Secretary of Treasury Tim Geithner, and President Barack Obama, and for each said, are you satisfied or dissatisfied with how they've handled the controversy? Not surprisingly, 80% said they are dissatisfied with how AIG management handled it. A significant majority of Americans said they were dissatisfied with how Congress handled it. After all, Congress passed the initial legislation that allowed the bonuses, and importantly, a majority of Americans said they were dissatisfied with how Secretary of Treasury Geithner has handled it. But when it comes to Geithner's boss, President Barack Obama, a majority of Americans say they are satisfied. Well, under half are dissatisfied. So the public seems to be differentiating in this particular crisis over the AIG bonuses between Obama and Tim Geithner. Second point, significant majority of Americans said that half or all of the money should be returned by the executives. Some have already done that. That's not a surprising finding. We've already seen some intimations of that in data we had from last week. But the third finding is quite new and quite fascinating. We ask Americans, what should be done now? Should Congress pass a law taxing the bonuses specifically to recover the money? That's what the House has already passed, of course. Should the executives be asked to voluntarily return it? Or should the federal government try to get the money back using existing legal means with no new legislation? What we find? About an even choice across all 3 of those. The key point is, we did not find a preponderance of Americans, a majority of Americans, or even a plurality of Americans choosing the option of Congress passing a law to tax the bonuses specifically. Americans kind of shying away from that. In fact, by 2 percentage points, Americans were more likely to say that the government should simply ask the AIG executives to return the bonus money. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, editor-in-chief of the Gallup.com.